seen one person look like.
There you go.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to our call tonight, and I'm very excited to see everyone's faces and also to see names on the screen. So I'm going to begin this evening by doing a little bit of a smudge, sending some energy out to everybody, and do a little bit of purification here. We probably could all use a little bit of that, depending on what your day has been like. So lighting some San Paulo here. And I want to invite you, wherever you are, unless you're driving, to just kind of relax and close your eyes for a moment. If you're driving, keep your eyes open. But we'll be sending some of this smoke to you anyway. So if our eyes closed, just imagine that you can smell the San Paulo. It's a very rich, very earthy, woody, kind of sweet smell. And that as it comes to us, that we allow it to begin to cleanse our energy fields. Whatever from the day we've dealt with today, whether it's been positive or negative or a mixture of both, that we just let it cleanse and let it fly away from us now. Let it go into the ethers. Let it move into the great mystery. Let it go to the great spirit. Let it go into the energy field of that great beyond. And just clear our fields right now so that we can be open and relaxed, not preoccupied with anything else, like what we're going to do when this call is over, or what we need to do tomorrow, or who's texting us, or whatever it might be. That right now we can just really come fully present. So let this smoke wherever you are, whether this is you listening to this now or recorded later, let the smoke come to you and see if you can smell it. Just take a deep breath and exhale fully and feel it and see it, and sense it and smell it. This rich smell, this earthy smell, reminding us that we are part of the earth. We belong to this earth as well as the stars. And once you've really felt the smoke come to you, you can open your eyes back up. And I'm going to do just a short invocation for us. So the first thing I want to do is to call in the great above. I want to call in the great star nations tonight, first and foremost. And call in everything that's sacred and benevolent, everything that's benevolent that watches over us, and all the unseen forces in the cosmos that are with us, even when we don't feel it, even when we don't know there's anything available to us. There is a sense there is something else beyond our human selves. And whatever that force is, and whether you feel very closely aligned to it or whether it's something you're not sure about, I want you to at least use your imagination to sense that there is something greater than our ego minds, than our human experience. There is a great mystery. There is a great spirit. And allow that energy of the great above to come to us tonight. But part of what we want to do on this planet is to bring the great above into the great below. So the next direction I want to call in is the great below. And to call in this earth walk that we have, our daily walk on this earth, and to know that it's sacred. We're not born in sin, we're born in blessing. And that if we're here on this earth, even though it might not feel like it at times, maybe we're sick or we have a loved one that's having a difficulty and we can't do anything about it, or it feels like we can't, or the problems in the world, the things we're concerned about on the planet, all those kinds of things. That being here and being a human being, I believe, is a real privilege. And my adopted Seneca grandmother Twyla Nitch, before she left, she told me that it was her understanding that in the cosmos, that this was one of the most coveted places to come to. That the earth realm itself, when we're in our spirit form, that people were literally had lottery tickets to come here, that it was such a rich experience of light and dark, of death and rebirth, and all the opposites that a lot of times we want to avoid, but that to become fully human and to be able to navigate this world and still keep our hearts open and learn how to love ourselves and others unconditionally was one of the greatest lessons and, if achieved, gifts of the cosmos. And I believe that's true. So I want to call in the spirit keepers and the helpers here on this earth itself in the great below. So the great above and the great below. And then I would like to call in the spirit keepers of the East. And calling in the East, I always like to think of the rising sun, and that each day is a new beginning. Whatever happened last night, yesterday, it's in the past already. Even if it's affecting the present, what happened is in the past. And so it's important to remember that each new day is a new beginning. So we call in the East, and we call in a rebirth energy, and we call in the energies of the winged ones, the feathered ones, the ones that can fly high, the ones that can see the bigger picture, and that can help us to remember the bigger story when we're feeling a little bit too close to the earth, perhaps, maybe kind of stuck in the muck or quicksand. We need to lift off on the wings of the eagle or the great hawk or the hummingbird. So we call in the spirit keepers of the East. We call in the air. And we ask to be able to take a deep breath and exhale and let go and feel the expansion within ourselves. That every day is a new beginning, a new chance to call forth what we choose to call forth in our lives. And then we come to the south. As we come to the south, we call in the noonday sun. We call in the place of being fully embodied. We call in the fire. We call in passion. We call in compassion. We call in the spiritual warrior. And this is not about war, but it is about being able to walk our path. And Grandmother Twyla used to have a funny saying, and she would say, no matter what's happening in your personal life, no matter what's happening in the world, if you can show up, and she would laugh and cackle and say, if you can show up when your butt is falling off, then you know what it means to be a spiritual warrior. That's when it really counts. It's great when things are going great and you can show up. But when you can show up when you'd rather not show up, that's the time that you know that you have the fire inside of you that can help you transform not only yourself, but help transform this beautiful planet and support the planet. The planet supports us, and that we can support the planet, contrary to what people think or what some people think. People do have an impact on the planet and on the climate and everything else here. So together we have a very powerful impact. And so I invite us all to show up, to be fiery, to be passionate, to be warriors for peace, to be available in our lives for what needs to happen on this planet, and to find out what our part is and to do it. So we welcome the spirit keepers of the fire and of the south. And then we're going to call in the energies of the West. Many traditions feel that the West is associated with the water. And as the sun is going down, and it's evening time, and it's just sunset, and we're preparing for the evening, it's a time for the energies of the water to come in, to dive into the deep, to go into the places where we can't see with our eyes anymore, with our human eyes. That we have to see with the eyes of the intuition, with our higher senses. That we have to trust our hearts, not the emotions. The emotions are beautiful, just like our thoughts can be beautiful, but I'm talking about the intelligence of our energies, that are connected to a deep inner knowing and a deep sensing that's beyond our regular emotions. So we call them our extra sensory energies that are in the West, in the waters, our psychic abilities, our abilities to dissolve the old, to let it melt, and to call in the waters to cleanse us, to purify us as we're dissolving, and to reconstitute us and to nourish and support us on our journeys, and to help us to rest and to learn how to float in the water, just like the embryo floats in its mother's womb, to float and to trust the process that not only, my dog just popped up here, not only, yes, Mystic, not only are we dropping into the waters to dissolve, but we're also going into them to replenish, to nurture, and to reconstitute, and to begin again. And as we begin again, we go to a place of innocence in the water where we don't really know, we can't really see, so we really have to trust those higher functions when we're falling apart or when we're dissolving. So calling in those energies tonight of the West and of the waters. And then we turn to the fourth direction, in the north. And in some traditions in the north, it's a place of the great white buffalo, of those who have the white hair, the white-haired ones, the elders, those who've gone before us, those whose bones we stand upon. And someday our bones will be the ones that others stand upon, and we'll be the elders, will be the ancestors in the north. These are the wisdom keepers that are in the north. This is the place of the midnight sun. This is the place where it's always in the light, always. It's like being in Alaska when it's when there's no day, no nighttime, when there's all this, or sometimes it's dark, but other times it's like light, almost eternally. It feels like. So it's opportunity to be able to fully see. When we're in that kind of energy, when we've had that ancestor energy that comes to us, there's a wisdom that surpasses time and space and that is learned from experience, but is now on the other side and can reach back to us. So I pray to my ancestors every day, and I have not only grandmother Twyla, but I have several ancestors on the other side, including my late husband, Brad Collins, who is definitely an ancestor spirit for me now and a spirit guide, as well as some of the dogs in my life that have really been more than just creatures in my life, but have truly been guardians. So whatever calls to you as an ancestor spirit, a wisdom keeper, I invite you to call that in right now. And this is the element of that, of the bones, really, of the earth, of the very earth itself, the element of earth and the groundedness and connection. So we call those energies in. And then last but not least, I want to invite you to call in your own heart. And Grandmother Twyla called it the within, the within, the within. The very deepest part of your heart and soul and spirit. It's not only your physical heart, but it's called the second heart. It's the heart womb. And it's the part of us that incubates our dreams and our visions. The mind is not the only thing that thinks. In fact, the heart is a superior has a superior thinking function than even the brain. And I'm not putting down the brain, but it said that the heart has a superior function and has just as many neurons in it as the brain, most recent research. So there's something about the heart that is a filter for everything else. It's a filter for all of our blood. It's a filter for our thoughts, our emotions. And it's also a filter because when we forgive or when we go to a bigger story, our heart changes its mind about the situation. And it truly is the one who can connect with higher mind and help us to see the reason for everything. And sometimes we don't want to let go of our little stories. I know I don't. It's like I can kind of say, well, this is my story. But truthfully, when I'm ready and I surrender and I turn it over to my heart, to the great within, I remember the truth. And I remember who it is that I am, who I'm here to be, and what's mine to do, what's my right relationship as an embodied spirit. So I invite you right now to once again close your eyes and go into the great within, and to take just a moment to perhaps pose the question to yourself while you're on this call tonight. Maybe you know why you're here, maybe you don't. Maybe you're just checking things out. Maybe you're planning on going with us on the journey to England or to France or both. But whatever the reason, it may not even be the reason that you came on for tonight. I'd like to invite you to go into that great within and take a moment of silence as we call it in, the deepest part, our own inner wisdom keeper. And in that deepest place within ourselves, allow our own inner truth to be known. And perhaps what comes, an image or a vision, or a power animal, or a word, or a feeling or a thought, an intuitive hit, or a sense of something. But take a moment and let it come. Then when you're ready, take a nice big deep breath, trusting whatever you've experienced or heard or sensed or know or intuited, or even if it's still just in the void and it's not quite clear yet, that's okay too. Trust the process, trust your inner self, and know that not only as above, so below, but also as within, so without. You can open your eyes when you're ready. And I just want to once again say that Vera and I welcome you onto this call this evening, and that Vera is going to be speaking to you a little bit more about our actual journey that we're going to be taking and sharing some things with you. But it's lovely to feel all of your energies this evening, and I'll just say that my own inner message for the evening was very clear, that regardless of what I go through in my life, that when I come back to the great within, I'm absolutely certain that I have a path and that there's an internal navigator. And even if my human self gets off course a little bit or gets caught up in some old pattern or thought or storyline or whatever, that I have this deeply rich transpersonal self that guides me back to where it is that I need to be each time I get off track. And I'm very, very grateful for that I'm not off track for too long. So with that, I'll pass this over to my sister, my shamanic sister and friend, Vera Lopez. Vera, can you come on? Hello there.
Can you hear me?
You're a little low on my computer. Let's see. I'll get Nicholas to turn it up. Okay, go ahead.
Well, thank you so much for this beautiful. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much for this beautiful opening and prayer and bringing all of us into this beautiful heart center so we can really create this circle that it does not matter where we are, because I know some people are not even here in United States. We have people from different countries that have considered to join this circle tonight. So wherever we are connected in this circle of light. And that's what I am so passionate about the work that we do, because we do invite the four directions to come together and to take together a step into whatever mystery we are being called to do it. I, for many reasons and many calls, have come to England, to Glastonbury, and found their home, found their the side of my soul, the priestess, that is really connected with serving the goddess. And so I had lots of beautiful experiences there and felt the call to start to bring groups there. So when we talk and you share and you have also been called by your ancestors, and I know that you even have ancestors in this lifetime that was from that area, it was really excited for me for us to create the opportunity for others to join us, because I know that you and I create such a beautiful and sacred space so people can step into that part of themselves that perhaps they know and perhaps they are just looking for. And I feel that we both are a very strong presence, very strong divine feminine presence. And that's why we love that after we journey in Peru, we felt that we was to also open the opportunity for males to join us, because it is now in the new earth, is the time for this beautiful, perfect union, and not to be on the left or on the right, or on the male or the female anymore, but really doing the sacred marriage of the divine feminine and divine masculine. And I feel that Avalon, as well as France, represent that opportunity for us to step into that oneness. And, you know, in Avalon, we have, even though Avalon was this island of priestess, we did have the presence of Merlin that was very strong as a guardian for the Lady of the Lake. So we have that in our journey, because males are feeling the call to join us. And so we can together step into the mystics. And so for England, as well for Mary Magdalene, that also came here in partnership with the Christ consciousness. So the Master Jesus, or Joshua, and Mary Magdalene is the union and the representation of what this whole new earth is about, this unified field of love that you spoke so beautifully, that is the wisdom of the heart. So we both was invested in creating beautiful processes and a journey that is very in alignment, and that is time for people to experience the sites, learn about it, and have their own heart connection with the place, and have the opportunity to remember their own experience there. And we're going to be in Stonehenge in a private setting where we enter. And if our group is large enough, then it's only us. But if it's not large enough, it's still, there is only 30 people that can enter in a private way. And we're going to be there just in that space where we can actually be inside of the circle instead of just walking around, because we are not tourists. And so this not make sense for us to just walk around. We need to get into the circle to do our work there, and we will do that. And we're also going to be in Avery and connecting with the wisdom of that site. We're going to go to the north, where we are in the vibration of Merlin, and receive initiations there for the beautiful male and female coming into the group. That is where we really bring that energy together. So it is Mary Magdalene, and is Avalon, and is Merlin. All of this is calling us when we are going to this journey. So if you are just going for one journey or another, I feel that it's better that perhaps you ask questions, and then I can direct you better or clarify your questions, because I know that some people was waiting for this circle tonight so they can ask their questions in order to, consider to be a part of the journey with us. So I don't know if there is anybody there that are willing to come forward and say, whatever is that is in your heart that would like to know in details, that we are here to answer.
So, Vera, my understanding, is that people are muted, and so that we can call on people, and then they can do they unmute themselves, or Nicholas will unmute them, and then they can say something, or they can say they pass. So
Okay.
if they
because I am in my phone, I cannot see everybody, so maybe.
I'll do that.
Okay.
I can do that. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll just call on the people that I see on the screen, and if anybody wants to say something or ask a question, or even just take a minute to say during the calling in of the spirits and the directions, if there was something that touched you or that's calling you on this trip, doesn't have to be a question. You can also say what's calling you, just to let us know. So I'm going to call on to see if Mar wants to say something. Mar? Can you hear me, Mar?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Do you have anything that you'd like to share? Do you have a question, or do you have anything that you'd like to ask or speak into this evening about the journey, or about the ceremony this evening, right before we start?
Not really. No.
Okay. Well, if anything comes up in the future, you can just give us a email, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have about the journey.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And what about Marie, or Marai, M-A-R-I, Mari? Can you hear us, Mari? Not hearing anybody there. So Mari, I'm assuming that either you can't, that we're not hearing you, or that you don't have a question. And again, feel free to send us something if you do, or if you're having difficulty now, you could even send an email or something, and perhaps we can get that before we hang up. And then there's Anna. And so Anna, can you hear us?
Oops.
There you are.
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry. I hit the wrong button.
That's okay, Anna. Do you have anything that you'd like to ask about the trip, and anything that we're going to be doing, any of the places that we're going to be going, or something that you were hoping that we were going to do?
You know, I wanted to get on the call tonight to learn more, so this is great, and I'm happy to make your acquaintance, Star Wolf, and I'm called to this after a very magical trip to Peru with Vera.
Mm-hmm.
So it's such a wonderful thing to see her face, and yours.
Well, I know I've been on those trips with Vera to Peru, and I've been there without her, and I can tell you that it's a whole different trip going with Vera.
Yes, I can imagine. I can't imagine it without her. So thank you for your time, and I'm really just here to learn, and hopeful to have a trip with you all this year.
Well, I really hope that works out for you too. And,
thank you.
Between Vera and myself, we always manage to get into some mysteries, perhaps, that aren't always available to other people.
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
It's a mystery that it's a mystery to us. So, but we do have a good time. You know, that's a big part of it too. Is that there's a lot of laughter, a lot of love. So it's not just apparently my animals want to go. So far now, one of my dogs is here with me. He's decided to be here. Now the cat's here, and she's wanting to say hello. So hello. The other dog, I'm not sure where he is, but anyway. When we go on these journeys, we're open to the mysteries that are there, that are maybe, considered to be more open to, the public or tourists. And we frequently go to things when other people aren't there, as Vera was speaking about having some private time at some of these places. But in addition to that, we usually find places to go as well that maybe are not as frequented as some of the, popular ones. So, and of course, there's the magic that happens that's unexpected. Well, I can't really say it's unexpected because we kind of expect the magic. We just don't know when to expect it. So, anyway, we're always open to that. And sometimes that's the biggest magic of all. So I hope to meet you, Anna.
Thank you.
And then I see some other folks on here, but I don't know I can't see the names. There's not names associated with them. Lucia?
I seem to be drawn to the trip to France. If I could have a bit more insight on what the intentions are around that would be great.
All right, so the trip to France, in the south of France, it is known. If it's true or not, we don't know, but that is what that part of the word speaks to us, is the journey where Mary Magdalene arrived when she came to, when she escaped Israel. And so she arrived into an area called Sainte Marie de la Mer, and in the coast of the south of France. And in where she arrived, actually, the area was an area where the gypsies was concentrated at the time, and they was the one that welcomed Mary Magdalene and Sarah, her daughter. And so the gypsies made Sarah their patron. So Sainte Marie de la Mer has this beautiful energy of Sarah. So Sarah is very strong present into that part. And it's interesting because everything is intention. So when you go to a place and you open up, and because the projection is every year, twice a year, there is a big festival in this place where gypsies from the whole Europe go into this place to worship Sarah and to pay reverence to Sarah. So the energy is present. So if she was there or not, we will never be able to prove. But because they declare that was true, when you go there, you feel she pulling you. When I arrived there, I could feel the energy of Sarah calling me into the church where there is this beautiful statue of Sarah, and you can connect it with her presence. So we are going to be connecting with Sarah. And of course, there is many informations nowadays that Sarah really was here with us, that Jesus and Mary Magdalene really had the tree that came out of them. And so we go first connecting with Sarah. And then from there, we're going to trace different sacred points where was said there Mary Magdalene stayed, because she lived a life hiding. She lived a life in caves and hiding. So she was not really able to do her ministry as she came here to do. The intention was that Jesus and Mary Magdalene would come here to bring the unified field of the male and the female. But that life, because when we come to this dimension, things can change. And because of the time and how her power and her gifts was threatening, at that time she was not allowed. But now we are in the edge of a ending of a process and a beginning of a process. So in this moment on time, she is evoking and calling all those that have said yes to step into this unified field of love. And there are many women and men that are feeling Mary Magdalene call. She is showing up in many different ways. And one of the ways is that people are feeling like going to the south of France and connect with her vibration. For whatever reason, her vibration is more strong there than anywhere else. And we are going to go to a cave where it said that she lives 30 years. And we go to areas where the mysteries of that area, the initiations we're going to go through is in alignment with a wisdom that is really have not been available to us because it was registered in codes. So I was very fortunate to be there and to meet this couple that for 20 years, they are part of this place called the René de Chateau. And this actually is a chapel that was mentioned on that book, that video and book, the Da Vinci Code. And so this chapel has a very interesting story, and there is so much mystery hidden on this small chapel, and the initiations that we can go through it is so profound that I have not found words to describe them. It's very experiential. And so it is our guests, this couple, that have been 20 years sitting in this church, in this little chapel, and receiving downloads. And they're going to show us, they have wrote a book, and there is sacred geometry, there is all these things that move through with light and time of the year, where all of this can take us into different realms of consciousness. So, and again, it has all to do with us stepping into the unified field, because we are here in this lifetime and many lifetimes that we have expressed and developed here on this planet, we have been developing through duality. And because the call now is stepping outside of it to the unified field, we are being called to where to go in order to receive the initiations of oneness. And the south of France is one that holds a strong portal for us to step into that. So we have the detail of the itinerary on my site and in Venus Rising. So you can read the detail there, but energetically is us getting into this space of following the call of Mary Magdalene. So if you have any connection with her, we start with Sarah, but the journey is going to really take us into the heart of this sisterhood. It's a sisterhood that will guide us into, for women, going deep into that space of serving the divine. And for men, I believe that it is a part of them also finding the Christ consciousness that they represent, holding in this planet for all of us. So it's a mystery that we're going to be receiving through initiations, different insights and different awakening. And I think that's the level is very different for each one of us. Mine is quiet, silent. When I go there, I feel that I go into this deep space within myself where I come out and I can feel that there is a DNA change, there is a shift on in my soul. And it's not about how I can explain the experience, because it is within the spirit. It's not experiential, but the call to facilitate or to hold this space for others to go through that enlightened initiation is very strong for me and Star Wolf. And that's why we are opening the vessel to be safe and to be well planned. So, some people feel the call, but they don't know how to go about it. So we have created that container for us to go and together experience these mysteries and these initiations and receive the enlightened, touch of this Christ consciousness. I don't know if that answered your question, but.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. Thank you. And lovely to meet you both too.
Well, Mystic here is he's really feeling the energy, if you could see him.
Yeah, I can. Beautiful thing.
He's just like throwing himself back in my arms as the beloved, which is the energy of the Magdalene and the Christos energy together is really the union of heaven and earth, and all the opposites, and the masculine and feminine, and all the opposites within each of us. And he's just feeling it. He's just in such love right now and bliss. Isn't it? But anyway, and just to tag on to that with Vera, Vera and I have both been dedicated to walking the path of the mystery and walking the sacred path of sacred initiations. We've both been doing this for more than 30 years each. So collectively, we have more than 60 years of this is what we do, what we've been doing, and in different places around the world. She mentioned the gypsies, and the gypsies are really Egyptians. That's where that came from, the gypsies, Egyptians. So there's a whole Egyptian connection as well. And so these mysteries all, whether they're in Peru or whether they're in France or whether they're, in Glastonbury or in Egypt or South Africa or wherever they might be. I just came back from Bali, from the Balinese culture. They're all connected. They're all connected through the ley lines. They're all connected through the holy blood that runs through our veins. And so at different times, archetypally, they take a different form and they come through a different channel or a different energy field. But every time we make a sacred pilgrimage, which is what this really is, a sacred shamanic journey, physically, my own experience is that when I make a physical experience to a land, to a country, to a cave, we were just in a beautiful bat cave up in a hidden waterfall in Bali. When I pilgrimage to some place and I find those places, just as Vera has discovered these places in France and England and in other places, and we've gone to Peru, and when I go to Egypt and different things, when we go to those places, if we go as a disciple, and disciple means to be, honoring and to go in a holy way and to go in an honoring way. The disciple is to be disciplined within ourselves and be true to ourselves. When we go in a certain way, then we receive the way that we enter those mysteries. Other people can just be walking around, being tourists, and they're getting something. Maybe they go, oh, that was nice, or they got their photo made in front of the cave or something, and it was a good journey for them. They had a good time. But we have we're entering with a different energy. We're carrying that energy. So there is a direct transmission that happens. And that's the whole reason for me to go. I've been enough places around the world that I don't need to travel anyplace else. I've seen a lot of things and done a lot of things. But the reason I go to these places is because I'm called to go. I'm called to go, and I go with a certain attitude and a certain reverence, and then I'm also holding space for other people. And if I go in that way, I can be absolutely sure that I'm going to get a transmission, and that we're all going to get, if we're going in a certain way, and certain reverence and openness and innocence, if you will, and a trust, and not have a storyline already about what it's supposed to be. We'll learn things and we'll educate ourselves, but then we open to the mystery. We will have a transmission. And those transmissions, and those of you, and I'm imagining many of you have traveled yourselves in this way, but those transmissions they're kind of like time activated. We're activated while they're on the property itself, or while we're in the cave, or while we're on the mountaintop, or by the chalice well, or wherever it is that we are on these journeys. But they don't just activate then and stop. They keep going. And they build upon themselves. And long after we return home, back to our homes, we're still being downloaded. We're still being influenced. We're still integrating that experience. Vera and our group, we were in Peru last year in October. And I'm still downloading that mystery. I'm still downloading some of the things that happened there for us. And, there was something that happened when we were there, and now there's still messages coming, and still a deepening of that. Coming back from Bali, being in some of the ceremonies there. I can feel it, especially being in the cave that we were in, the waterfall that we were in there. And certain ceremonies, I can feel that it's so fresh. That's really still activating me. So that's the reason to go. If it's just a tourist thing, I just want to put that out here. Then there's lots of tour companies to go and that sort of thing. But to go and be in the mystery and be holding the energy of receiving the downloads is a whole different reason to go.
Yes.
And yeah. So.
And I want to add into that what Star Wolf said, that we both have doing our own beautiful journeys for 30 years, and not only for ourselves, but holding a space for others. Personally, I believe that if you are here, if you feel connected or attracted to join us, it's because our souls know one another, and your soul knows that you will be totally safe with us, and that what we bring into this container is what you need, so you can do this journey and fully surrender to your mystery. Because that's what I notice, is that when we are together, we create a special frequency that it's different when I am by myself or when I am with other leaders. We hold a different frequency, and the container perhaps that we're going to be creating is the container that you are feeling called to go, is the one that is specific and more appropriated for where you are on your evolution right now. Just adding to that.
Thank you. So who else do we have? Who is it? Bob. Hi, Bob.
Hi, Star Wolf. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's good to see your face.
It's been a while. 6 months?
Months.
Yes, yeah.
Have you recovered from being at the Isis Cove and being at Dove Mountain with us for what? Like, you were here like 3 or 4 weeks with us.
6.
6 weeks. Oh my God.
Time flies when you're having fun, eh?
I know. Gosh, that's right. You were here for the whole month. For
the whole 6 weeks, yeah. Yeah.
And afterwards. That's fabulous.
Yep. Still downloading information. Still a lot of amazing shifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all good. So what interests me is the Avalon, just with Stonehenge, Merlin, Lady of the Lake, so that's really what intrigues me. So, yeah.
Well, that is beautiful that when we started, when we was guided to create this opportunity, we initially was not clear. We felt, okay, we are creating, and was women only. And then when we was in Peru, we both, like, in one moment we was in Morai, and we just felt this strong. And I have to say that Nicolaus and Jason are 2 amazing guardians of the male portal, and they touched my heart in a way that I felt like, oh my God, we needed to open up for this, for the guardians of the portal of divine masculine to be with us, because I felt in that moment there were other brothers that are meant to be there to grow with us, to partner with us, and so together we can really work with it's like Merlin and King Arthur and the Lake of the Lake, and it is a circle of light that is coming together now in peace and harmony and beauty, in joy. It created a whole different story. So whatever is that happened in the past, there was parts that was beautiful, there was parts that was not so beautiful, but now we are coming together to heal that and create and write a new story. where we are really in a beautiful partnership. So I'm so happy, Bob, that you are considering to be with us. I cannot see your face because I'm in a phone and just keep 4 squares. But I'm looking forward to have you, join us for this opportunity, this Avalon experience.
Thank you.
Bob, is there anything else that you want to ask? I know you know Nicholas and Jason both, but is there anything else that you'd like to ask or comment on?
No. I'm just looking forward to the trip. Just got to work it out, and we'll make it happen.
That sounds great. Well, I look forward to seeing you in person.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sammy, where are you? Hi, Sammy. You're in bed.
I'm in bed. It's like nearly 2 o'clock in the morning, but I wanted to tune in and say hi to you both and see everyone and see Mystic and Lakshmi waltzing past.
Did you get to see Princess Lakshmi?
I saw her tail.
Lakshmi, Sammy's up here. You want to say hello? Come here, kitty. Well, she's lying down right next to me. Sammy's her favorite person in the world. So, yes. Sammy here. Her ears are pricked up. Yeah.
Hi, Princess.
She's looking all around.
I didn't have any questions. It was more I just wanted to tune in and come into the field and see Vera and say hi. And yeah, hi Bob as well.
Here she is. There's your girl.
Oh, I have my other one.
So Sammy, say a little bit about, would you take a minute just to say a little bit about your relationship to England and to Glastonbury yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I basically went to school there. So I went to school like in Bath, which is right by there. So I lived there for like the first 25 years of my life, and have been to like some of the places that the trip goes to, so like Stourhead and Wells, and I've worked at Glastonbury as well, so I've been to the big Glastonbury festival. But some of my best friends in the world live there, so I'm actually going there on Thursday, so in 2 days' time. And it's also where the guy who's just done all your new designs is from as well. So it's an area I'm really connected to. And it's just like, for anyone who hasn't been there, the energy there is just incredible. It's just, as soon as you step in the area and the land, it's just such a powerful vortex and healing energy that you can just feel from being there. So yeah, it's somewhere that's I feel deeply connected to.
Well, Sammy, it's beautiful to see you, and I'm glad you're getting some sleep finally. We just been, with Sammy, and of course, Bob, you know Sammy, but we just been with Sammy in Bali for the last, well, not the last, but about 3 weeks. We just got home about a week and a half ago. So we were in an intense training and mystery school there together. So I love seeing these faces that I love so much, and looking forward to this next journey with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will see you soon.
Yes.
And I connect with you tomorrow, Sammy.
And I'll speak to you tomorrow, Vera. Yeah. Perfect.
Awesome. So we are 1 hour into the call, and would be nice if there is a specific question that we can answer. Otherwise, for not to be too long for everybody, then also for the people that are going to be watching this video. There is anyone that would like to ask a specific question, so since we are here in circle, we can answer.
Renee and Carol just jumped on.
Yes, we figured out how to jump on. First of all, I apologize for coming so late. I thought it was 5:30 our time. And then the second thing was I was trying to figure out how to use Zoom because this is the first time we're actually doing this.
It's so good to see the two of you.
Good to see you too. We were wondering, where are we flying into? You might have already covered that though.
No, we haven't.
Where what?
Where are we flying into? What airport are they flying into in England?
Well, we are going to
France.
Oh, in France. Okay, France.
Yeah, we are in France. We are flying to Toulouse. We arrive. No, actually, we start on Marsella. Let me go here on my itinerary. But we fly in Marsella, and then we leave from Toulouse. And that information is in detail on the website. So I can send you the link, but yeah, when we arrive in Marsella, because Marsella is very close to Sainte Marie de la Mer, where we start the journey. And then because we travel towards the other opposite side of the bay, then we end up close to Toulouse, and that's where the journey ends. So I believe that most of the international flights is going to take you, say, from Los Angeles to or Paris or Toulouse, and then you have the internal flight. Depends when you are buying. Sometimes the flight takes you actually to London from United States. The stop is United States, Heathrow, and then Heathrow, Toulouse, or Marsella.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, we've done that before. And then the other question she had was, do we wear white for ceremonial purposes, or is that like just something that's a personal preference?
Well, my experience is personal preference. I love black. I wear a lot of black, and when I am in England or France, I was called to not wear black. So I only try to use more pinks and reds and like this kind of a color. It's just interesting. And in some cases, I do wear the white. I feel that you have to make your own connection and see what is. But it would be nice. Maybe we create one day where I all in white and then we do something special. But if it's Mary Magdalene, the energy is a lot of reds as well. So.
Okay.
Because when we were at John and God's, we wore white all the time. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the case is not here, but perhaps with Mary Magdalene, we can consider more whites and pinks because that's the colors that we use when we evoke their presence.
Okay, cool.
Look forward to seeing you in person.
I know, I'm excited too. And we have to connect on Egypt.
Yes.
We need to go on Egypt. I'm so happy to see you guys.
And we can send it to you, Rene, the recording of this call with the beginning, so then you can listen to, whatever we have been sharing here before.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And I'm excited. Now I finally learned something new. How to use Zoom.
It's actually really great. Nothing's perfect, but it's pretty great, really.
It is really great. Now, I want to take Renee to Paris, so should I do that before or afterwards?
It's up to you. I think that's probably like once you have the itinerary to see, what will fit better on your agenda, on the days, on the schedule. There is no.
No, which is closer if we fly in?
I'd say that the distance is very similar, but probably after,
Okay, we can do that. Because she's never been to Paris. So I thought if we're in France, she's going to go to Paris.
Go to France, you have to go to Paris.
Yes, so she's never been there. And so I'm going to make sure she gets there before.
So before you go to decide that, maybe, we can talk with the rest of those that are committing to go and see if they are maybe going to Spain after or something, and you guys want to join, and then you want to go to Paris before. I think the most important thing is just to hold the space right now for the trip, because my experience is I have been doing Peru 30 years, as many of you know, and there the hotels are larger and it's easier to reserve, you know, a nice amount of rooms for groups. And England and France is not like that. The hotels are smaller. Some are really like 3 rooms, 5 rooms, 10 rooms. It's not like huge chain hotels. In some areas it is, but it is not available. They book fast because the ones that are larger, usually events like weddings or company take those spaces for, you know, for a large amount of people. And so the most important thing is to make a commitment to the trip itself, because then we can reserve your space, and because we have limited space.
Right.
And then you decide later the flights.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll send her money. That's not a problem. I'm going off to New Zealand and Australia in 2 weeks, so I kind of have to figure out what I'm doing here. So, the money to you. I promise.
Okay.
So we have Alexa.
So we have Alexis. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, I learned how to use the unmute button.
Yay!
First time successful unmuting. So I was drawn more to the France trip as well. I just kind of recently started studying and just being drawn more to Mary Magdalene. And I'm kind of clomping around in the dark. And then this popped up kind of not out of nowhere. So I just had an interest in that. It actually didn't occur to me that I could do both trips. So I don't want to say should, but like what would be maybe the benefit, or how are they woven together?
Well, my experience is I did both this last May. I was there for the whole experience in Avalon, then France. And they are different and they are not. When it's almost, if you are in a journey where you are feeling like Star Wolf was saying, you are in reverence, and you know that you are just going through this initiation. Some of these initiations happen in your dream, because you know the dream world, the shamans working with us, and the masters and the priestess. I feel if you are being called to do both, it's because there is a process for you specifically. Some people are very clear, they are just England. Some people are very clear, they are just France. And then some people say, what is about the two that will benefit me? To me, is the whole unified field of the male and the female that will get very strong. When you walk through the portal of England is different than the portal of France. I would say very different. And in the same time, it isn't. So it's not words that I can use that will clarify. Maybe Star Wolf knows some words that would give you a better feeling for it. But for me, is what your heart is guiding you. If your heart is guiding you, I want to go the whole through process. Just join us, because we are going to be on the same initiation as you. Not because we are holding a space that we are not also being blessed and activated with the circle. We are. And it's pretty powerful. It's pretty powerful.
Well, I think that one of the more, for me, more obvious connections is the Holy Grail. And I think that, you know, as you said before, Vera, you know, what's fact, what's fiction. You know, I would even say, you know, what's archetypal and what's human, you know, and that I think when something has as much mythology around it as Magdalene or the Holy Grail, you know, and Arthurian legends and those kinds of things, that it's not really important whether it actually manifested 100% in this plane or not. It's a living reality, because it's in the psyche, it's in the soul, it's in the zeitgeist of human beings. I mean, when you have books and movies and plays, and there's probably hardly almost anybody you could talk to has heard the word Holy Grail or heard the word Magdalene or Avalon and those kinds of things. And they're intricately tied in together. And so my thought is that connecting with the Avalonian mysteries, that we're going to connect with what I would call the more, a little bit, they're still ancient, but they're more modern day mysteries of the Grail, maybe the most recent iteration of the Grail mysteries. And to go to England and to go to the mysteries and connect with the cave and the waters and Merlin and all of, Glastonbury, all of that is exploring an ancient mystery that's still somewhat modern.
Yeah.
And yet, when we go to France, we're going to go back even further, perhaps to where the Grail mystery actually began. And then with the Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and that the Grail has to do with the energy and the spirit of the archetype or the being known as, Yeshua and Christ and his beloved Magdalene. So to me, it's turning the chapters and going back another level.
Yeah. And
equally powerful, I think, but just different chapters of the same story.
Yeah.
So depending on which, you might just be called to one of them, and you might be on the whole Grail mystery, tour. So that's how I would see it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
On a practical level, it's also a discount, I think, to go.
Okay.
That's the real mystery. Can I afford it? Sometimes can I afford not to go, at least for me.
And let's say, right, because the intimacy that is built into these journeys are so deep into the heart. So if you ever feel like, okay, instead of going twice, just go and stay longer and go with this sacred family. So that's also a very positive aspect of doing both with us.
So is there anybody else? I don't know if there's anybody else on the call tonight. I can't see. Okay. And this is recorded. So for those who come on at a later time or who want to come on and see if their questions were answered, can do that. And if they, after watching this, if they have additional questions, they're always free to write us, and they can certainly write me, starwolf@shamanicbreathwork.org. And Vera, what's your email?
Vera Lopez @me.com.
Yeah. So if it's, details and particulars, you're going to want to write Vera, and certainly about the mysteries, but I'm also, tuned into these mysteries and happy to share my experience. I've had many experiences on the inner planes, especially through shamanic breathwork experiences, and a good portion of you here people are on here tonight, have been through shamanic breathwork training or shamanic breathwork journeys. And I have had many, many, many shamanic breathwork journeys, personal journeys, and I can't tell you how many of them have involved either Merlin or the Avalonian mysteries, Lady of the Lake. I have drawn swords that say have Lady of the Lake written on them, of the energies of Magdalene. I feel very drawn to Magdalene. In fact, it was in a shamanic breathwork experience was the first time I ever really met Magdalene, that she came to me, and I really got a sense of who she really was. And so I'm happy to share, what experiences I've had with that. And I know that Vera's had a lot of deep revelations and journeys, and can share those with you. So if there's not any further questions tonight, one last call. Anything else that needs to be asked, even on, if not a mystical level, but a practical level this evening?
Will there be another trip. I can't make the first, we can't make the first trip to England because we had planned another trip. Will there be this offered again, and when do you think?
Well, I don't know that for sure. You know, one never knows, but my guess is that this may be one of several times that happens. I know that Vera has made this trip several times, and she's, you know, made a real reconnaissance trip to make sure that the right people were there to guide us on this trip, because you know how important it is, like when we're in Peru, to have the right people that can give us the additional mysteries to this. And information that enriches the journey even more and sometimes validates our inner experience. So we're looking at this becoming, you know, a trip that is taken here and there. I can't say immediately when that might be. Vera, you can write Vera directly and she can give you some more information about that.
Okay.
So yeah, for those who could do both, I think it would be really wonderful to do that. And obviously, if you've got to choose one, we're happy to have you do that too.
I'm going to be in Italy, so I can't go that much.
Oh, for you.
So, but I'll be back in October, so I can go. So, and I had this planned years ago, so I don't have a way to get out of them. So,
we'll forgive you this time.
Okay.
Have to go through the whole thing the next time.
Okay.
Anybody else before we close? Yes. Okay. And who is that?
So it's Lucia.
Oh, Lucia. Okay.
I just wanted to ask, just a location thing, really. It's which airport do you arrive at and leave from in the France trip?
So, you, where are you coming from?
Australia, Sydney.
Australia.
Yeah.
So when you go look for your flight, your airline company will give you the route. Normally, the route stops first on Heathrow in England, and then takes you to France. If from Australia go Australia, France, perhaps it's going to be Australia, Paris. Then would be Paris, Marcella, and then we end in Toulouse. But if you are going to Heathrow, then it's going to be Heathrow, Marcella, then you leave from Toulouse. So if you can email me, or you can go to the link, you're going to see the details and the name of the cities, because my English might not be the perfect way to pronounce these cities, but you're going to be written there, and then I can communicate with you, and I can help you to shop for a ticket or something. But it usually you needed to go with the route, and the route is going to say in Australia, London, Marseille in France, and then you are leaving from Toulouse to probably London and then Australia.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to know in relation to the journey that you've planned, where it starts, and you've just told me Toulouse, so we leave.
Yeah, we start in a town called Marseille. It's Marseille, Marseille. That's where we start.
Okay.
And then we end on a town called Toulouse.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you all for showing up tonight and for being with us. And let's take a moment before we close to just close our eyes together again. And just really have our hearts open, and as we prepare to go into the dream time, as we prepare to do whatever it is that we're doing, you're on the other side of the world, just to tune into our heart's energy and to notice any activations that are there, and notice any, anxieties or fears that come up, and that, sometimes as soon as we get excited about something, there'll be a part of us that kind of comes up that gets scared or has reservations. And I pay attention to those and listen to them just long enough to determine if they have validity or if it's just that part of me that gets a little afraid about entering the mystery. because the truth is whenever we enter a mystery and go through an initiation, we're changed and things are different on the other side of that. So just to be with that for a moment and just begin to get a resolve in your heart to what it is that you're called to do. And I just trust that if you're on this evening, that there's a reason for that. And let's take a nice big deep breath together. Exhale fully and let go. And wish you all a very pleasant good evening or good afternoon. We're in Australia.
Good night.
And or good night. And take care of yourselves, and we look forward to hearing from you. And please also share with your friends if there's other friends you have that you think would be interested, and tell them about this, and they can check this link and listen to it and ask questions as well. Okay.
Beautiful.
Night,
Thank you so much.
Night, Vera, my love.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.